Hello my lovely stitchy friends, how are you all doing? This is Mieke. Today is Saturday, September 20, 2025 and I am here with my WIP parade for the year. I hope this video finds you well. I myself am in a very good stitching mood thanks to the Stitch Basel European cross stitch retreat last weekend. I am still riding that retreat high that you get after having spent some time with your lovely stitchy friends. We had a fantastic time and a couple of friends asked me, so Mieke, any new floss tubes in the work? And I said to them, well, actually I'm thinking about recording a new one, but there is a certain milestone that I want to reach first on Super C Opal. And by the time that I said that last weekend, I still had 3,500 stitches to do. And I wasn't sure if I was gonna make that anytime soon. But here we are. A week ago, we were in Basel, having a great stitching time with each other, and now I'm here recording a video. I have a pile of 22 projects next to me, and most of those are full coverage, as usual. If you know me, and if you're new here, hi, my name is Mieke. I'm a stitcher from the Netherlands. I've been stitching for almost all my life, and the last years, ever since COVID and the whole lockdown period, I have really been into full coverage designs, specifically Heaven and Earth Designs patterns. However, there are a few non-full coverage pieces in the pile next to me, as well as a very special, fully finished object stitched by my grandmother. All of that is to come, and I'm looking forward to sharing my progress over the last year with you. So far in this year, we are now in month number 9 and I have had 8 page finishes. So I need to get cracking and see if I can reach my yearly average of 12 page finishes again. And this WIP parade around, I'm going to do a slight variation of what I did last year. Last year, 2024's WIP parade was an entire WIP parade of all my full coverage projects, whether I had worked on them recently or not. To change things up a bit, this year I'm going to show you everything that I worked on since my last WIP parade, so September last year until now. And I am saving that milestone on Super C Opal for the last bit, I think. Or maybe not, and I will surprise you somehow during this video. We will see. We are starting at Stitch Basel 2024, September 2024, and that means that we will start with 2 non-full coverage pieces. The first of which is Sumatran Lace by Ink Circles. I will put pictures of the designs up in the corner here so you can see what they will eventually look like. And this is where I am with that right now. This is a 36 count marbled bunny by XStitch Designs. I've started in the center of the design and I'm stitching this with Color Fever flosses that my lovely friends gifted me at that retreat. Last year in Basel we celebrated my birthday, Don's birthday, and there were a couple more birthdays in that weekend, so that was lovely. And these threads were a gift from my table mates and my stitchy friends. So obviously I had to do something with that. And I chose Sumatran Lace because Dragons of Sumatra, one of the big companion pieces in the whole Sumatra series by Ink Circles, is an FFO that is looking at me from the other side of the room. That was stitched for me and gifted to me by my darling friend Mev from Mev Stitches in Paris. So this is going to be at some point a little companion to that. Start number 1 and WIP number 1. I had another start enabled by Stitch Basel 2024, but started not at retreat, but after that, and that is Modern Folk Embroideries Stitch Along the Fruits of Plenty. I was heavily enabled by the WIP and the finish of Ginkgo and Ginkgo and Surimini, Deborah and lovely Momo, who brought their pieces to Stitch Basel 2024, and I just went, oh yes. I started the 4 Season Quaker years ago in 2018, I believe, and this is a companion piece to that. If you've seen my January video, you will have seen this in a different version because I restarted it. And here is where we are right now. Look at the little squirrel. Oh, I love it. Center start. The variegated blue is my absolute favorite thread from Silks for You, the illustrious P147, which never shows up right on camera, but nevertheless, let's see. Gorgeous blue, teal, that I could absolutely use all over my house and is perfect with my sofa. And the other thread in here is a lighter blue. It's a semi-solid Mrs. Sedas silk. Mrs. Sedas, if you don't know her, her real name is Raquel, is a Spanish thread dyer. I absolutely adore her stuff. This is number 56. It's a bit bunched up. It obviously comes, you know, neatly hanked up. Is that a word? If not, I'm making it a word now. It comes in a full hank of silk. And this is somewhere between DMC 3844 and DMC 3845. I'm using that for the lighter pieces, and I don't know if the slight tonal variegation will show up. I can see it in real life and in the camera, but those two really sing together. And the fabric is an XU Designs fabric, obviously 32 count marbled turquoise. Do I say that right? Yes, I said that right. And I restarted this not because I didn't love it first time around, but because I wanted the two Modern Folk embroidery cells to be sisters of each other. So the Four Seasons one is also being stitched on the same fabric with PR147. And this way they will really be sort of not twins, but sisters. So those were my two non-full coverage starts, heavily enabled by Stitch Basel 2024. With Mrs. Seda silk, XU fabric, and Silks for You, PR147. And again, it doesn't show. It is such a naughty thread color. Honestly, it's always showing up more electric blue, while in real life it's much more teal. Anyway, it's staying in character. It has always done that. Those were my Basel 2024 starts, and now we move to a huge big pile of full coverage things. Although, like I said at the start, there is more than just full coverage following, but most is going to be full coverage. And first I'm going to show you one of my 4 for 40 birthday starts that I did last September. Last September I turned 40. I gave myself 4 new birthday starts. And as has happened multiple times, when I have a real big attack of the serial startitis, I start many things and I don't continue with all of them. Same thing happened with my 4 for 40 birthday starts. I kept 2 of the 4 pieces, and the first one is this one, Winter Solace, original artwork by Abraham Hunter, and the chart is designed by Artisy. This makes me think of our winter holidays when I was a kid in Switzerland. My aunt and uncle's parents used to have a chalet there in the Swiss Alps in the mountains. And even though I'm very much not a skier, not a snowboarder, trust me, I have tried for 3 seasons. I always fall on my bum or flat on my face. It's not for me, but I do love that fresh, icy, wintry scent, and I love looking at those majestic snow-covered mountains. So Winter Solace always makes me think of that. And I did a bottom left start on that, and I reached the first page finish. Here it is. That blue fabric on the bottom, just ignore that. That is a little bit of extra fabric that I added so that it could fit a bit better in the Q-snap. And the second piece out of my 4 for 40 birthday stars that I kept is also a winter piece, but this is a Christmas style pattern, and that is Tinseltown. Charted by Charting Creations, and this was a confetti monster. If you've seen my January video, I was talking, I'm looking down here because I'm separating the threads, by the way. If you have seen my January video, I talked about how it took me so long to actually see what I was stitching on the page. But after I finished the page, which is this one, first page, top left corner, I started to see, oh yeah, these are snowy tree branches and there's a dark blue night sky. But I remember telling you that while I was still in the first half of the page, let's say here, it was just confetti all over. I had no idea. But then as I moved down the page and these dark branches started to come into view, I realized, oh yeah, that's what I'm stitching. Trust the process. Then there was another new start in the autumn. Again, if you're new here, I am not a monogamous stitcher. I am very much a serial starter. It's not my fault. That gene has been passed down the genetic line through my mom. It's not my fault. It is absolutely not my fault. I can't help it. It's just how I'm wired. Blink, blink, blink innocently. I love starting new things. There's always a thrill of, you know, getting those first stitches in and then seeing something grow under your hands. And in October, I had a start on this beautiful pattern. This is Red Fairy Forest by Ciro Marchetti. I think I still remember Raffaela's pronunciation lesson from last year. Ciro Marchetti. I think it is stuck in my brain now. And I had this one upgraded to max colors thanks to a lovely gift card that I got for my birthday from Annerique. So Annerique knows I am always thinking of her when I look at this pattern and when I'm stitching on it. And also on this one, I did the first page. Ah, look at that being stunning. This is a curtain, and this is, you know, a see-through veil of a curtain. And you can just see how the colors flow. I'm very tempted, as I was, you know, putting the pile together this morning. It is now early Saturday afternoon and the rain is pouring down. But as I was putting the pile of WIPs next to me, I was looking at this one and thinking, this is probably gonna go in the Q-snap after everything is done. So yeah, and what I love about this pattern, I will put the picture in once again, is that there are actual bluebells in the bottom of that picture. Very nice. And then we had my ultimate autumn piece, and that is Magic Autumn by Genevieve Art. This is the one and only piece in my WIP collection without a single shade of blue. And that is something special because everything in my life has a relation to blue, except this one. Last time around I had finished the first page, and by now I have finished the second one. Look at that being fun. Oh, this is so cozy. There was acorns in the second page. I mean, look at that shading. Fantastic. Yeah. And this is also gonna go in the Q-snap soon. We had this really weird weather here in the last few days, where Thursday was hot and warm and muggy and clammy. Yesterday, Friday, we all of a sudden had 26, 27 degrees. It was almost like summer was trying to have a little after party, and now it's gray and rain is pouring down. Okay, fine. I am not really an autumn and winter person, but I can very much appreciate the coziness of autumn. So let's transition into autumn and not have any more of these summery after party outbursts. All right, weather. Next up is the last new start that I did in 2024, and that is this gorgeous watercolor piece by Margaret Morales, Satura. I've been following Margaret Morales on her Instagram page for a couple of years now, and her art is just divine. The flow of colors, the little videos that she puts up on her YouTube channel where you can see her actually painting these pieces, it's mesmerizing. And I did one Margaret Morales piece start in December and another one in January. That was not the plan, but once I got going, I couldn't actually stop. And both of them have reached a first page finish. And here is the first page on Satura, Max Colors. Oh, by the way, I haven't mentioned that yet. All my Heaven and Earth Designs pieces are always stitched on Zweigart Even Weave 18 count Davota. That's a good thing to mention, especially for anyone who is into full coverage. I love this fabric. My New Year New Start was Breakfast in Bed by Amy Stewart, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is the SSMC version, so supersize max color version, and I cut it in half because I'm not a cat person and I just wanted to do the left half of the pattern, which I then titled Breakfast. I did about 500, 600 stitches on that, and the pattern itself is lovely, but I did not think this design through very much, because if you look at it, it misses the one thing that absolutely is part of my breakfast every morning, and that is coffee. This has tea and a teapot. It doesn't have coffee. And if you know me, you know that I need to have at least 2 cups of good strong coffee in the morning in order to wake up. So as I was working on it and looking at it, I was like, yeah, but this, I love the colors, and anything Amy Stewart is obviously always lovely, but this is not my breakfast. My breakfast needs coffee. So after that realization, I sort of, you know, put it in the naughty corner for the rest of the year. And throughout the year, I have been looking at it at some points, and I just didn't think this start through. This is not my breakfast. My breakfast is always coffee, fruit, and a little bit later in the morning, a bowl of yogurt with some more fruit. That's it. Not the sugary stuff that you see here, not tea. I love tea, but tea is something for the afternoon or the evening. So I have decided to UFO this piece. As much as it is lovely and as much as I love Amy Stewart designs, I am going to go hunt for a full coverage design that features a fresh pot of coffee. I have one in mind already, or actually I should say I have 2 in mind already. I have not yet chosen. I'm going to let that brew for a bit longer. And then once I made my choice, I will obviously tell you on my Instagram and later on in my YouTube video. But that is UFO'd. And the second piece that is UFO'd is also going to be a surprise probably. That is this one. Gardener's Paradise by Donna Gelsinger, max color version, charted by Heaven and Earth Designs. This is a piece that I started in January in honor of my mom. And now don't worry, nothing has happened to my mom, nothing has happened between my mom and me. It's not at all like that. My mom and I are very close. But I was actually looking at that piece and working on it and thinking, it doesn't really make sense to stitch something in honor for her while I could also stitch something for her. As I will tell you a little bit later in the video, we lost my grandmother halfway through the year, and that obviously makes you think about the people in your life. And my mom is hopefully going to be here for another 20, maybe even 30 years. But you don't know. And I can stitch on something this big that's going to take me decades if I ever finish it. or I could start something for her that is smaller and that I might actually gift to her and that she can hang up in their house. And that has been my thought process. Nou, mam, als je dit ziet, wil ik dat je nu de video uitzet. Dit moet een verrassing voor jou blijven, dus kijk alsjeblieft weg. My mom has found my Instagram a while ago. She's not at all active on my Instagram, on Instagram I should say. And she hasn't found my YouTube channel as far as I'm aware. But you never know with those cheeky ladies. So, mam, als je tot hier kijkt, wil ik dat je nu de video uitzet. Want ik wil dat dit een verrassing voor je blijft. Oké? Good. I just told her in Dutch to please switch the video off. I am scrapping Gardener's Paradise and I am going to start this beautiful lavender piece for her. This is a chart from Etsy by, oh good lords, Canvery UA. I will put the name of the Etsy shop in on screen here. My mom and dad have a love for Spain, like me, but also a love for the south of France. And they especially love the Provence and the lavender in the summer times. And the downstairs bathroom in my parents' house is completely lavender themed. And this would fit right in there. And it struck me a few months ago when I was visiting my parents and I was in the bathroom and I all of a sudden thought, oh, but this would be nice. So I am swapping Gardener's Paradise in honor of Mom and starting this piece actually for her. It's not very big, I mean, especially not given my usual style of huge, big babs, big as projects. But that has been my idea. So that is going to be, I haven't started it yet, but that is the idea that I have for her. So, shh. Anyway, those have been the two UFOs that I started early in the year and that I scrapped. And then there was one more start in January that definitely did linger, and that became part of the Morales Across the Miles stitch along that we started on Instagram with Dobby covered in floss and Sabine. And this is a completely open stitch along. You can join whenever you want with whatever Margaret Morales piece you're stitching or starting. It doesn't have an end date, it's just an ongoing thing. It's just to celebrate the art that is Margaret Morales' beautiful watercolor paintings. And the piece that I started is literally named Azul Blue. I mean, duh. This screams my name, right? This absolutely screams my name. And I also did a first page finish on that one. Here it is. Oh, so cool. Satura is more green blues and this is more so far purpley blues. But we will get into greener blues further down in the design. And this is such comforting, relaxing stitching. There is a tiny bit of confetti in it, but not much. And you can just see the watercolor style of Margaret Morales being translated into the stitches. Michelle Sayeda from Hade is a talent, is a star, absolutely. Then, in the winter, I had a restart. And that was Winter Queen by Bridget Ashwood. I've told you in my last WIP parade, yes, in my last WIP parade I told you the whole story about how I started Winter Queen as a New Year, New Start in 2024, only to finish the first page and then find out that I had oriented the fabric the wrong way and that the whole design wasn't gonna fit. So that was a complete turn off and I just chucked it away in a corner, frustrated with myself. And I told you last year, okay, I have fallen out of love with this piece. It's not going to happen anymore. Lo and behold, it kept tugging at my heartstrings and I restarted it. measuring and measuring and measuring and measuring the fabric time and again. And because I had already done a top left corner start, I thought I would change things up a little bit. And I did the first page from the bottom left corner. It's a partial page, as usually happens with bottom rows or edge rows. And I am so happy that I restarted it. I mean, I'll put the picture up here. Look at those winter purple roses and look at that lovely little puppy. Oh, I love puppies. So, me and Winter Queen are friends again. Then we came to Mania. Stitch Mania, Manic Mania. Do whatever you want, stitch whatever you want, make it your own. And I decided for the first time to do a WIP Mania. Mania has always been for me start and start and start and start. But this year I said to myself, I really want to devote some time to my oldest projects. And that I did. The first one that came out is this one, Night Moves by Jim Warren. This is the first Heaven and Earth designs that I started back in 2015. This piece is now 10 years old. And here is where I got to now. These are the first 2 pages and I started working my way down into page 3. This beautiful project is also known as the one with the olive and tan colored moon. I've told you about that one in my last WIP parade. The shading in the moon is, it's freaky when you're working on it. And it's absolutely like, oh! But then trust the chart, trust the process. And if I hold it a bit further away, yeah, it works out. So Night Moves is my oldest WIP. Still love it. For some reason, it always makes me think of the coast of southern Spain. Not that there are horses coming out of the waves, obviously, but there's something about the colors that always make me think of the coast of southern Spain, where we go about once a year for a lovely family holiday, and where we are going to spend Christmas and New Year's Eve this year. Oh, can't wait. Maybe I should bring this one with me to Spain. I normally bring Super Sea Opal with me whenever I'm traveling. Maybe I should bring this one. After this video is done, I am going to put a reminder in my phone. Because that would be real nice, to bring the piece that reminds me of Spain to the actual place that it reminds me of. Let's see if I remember. Next we come to the second oldest WIP that I have. It is the second oldest Heaven and Earth Designs WIP that I have. Celia by Hannah Lynn. And like I told you in my last WIP parade, this has been a restart. Because I did Celia in the mini version, because 10 years ago I could not fathom myself doing a regular, let alone a max color, let alone a supersize max color. It's funny how times change and how your style evolves. And so I said, you know what, I am going to have this one as well as another Hannah Lynn that I started earlier, recharted for max colors, and then I'm going to restart them and do them on my trusty 18 count Davosa. That is what I did. And I'm glad that I did, because this is Sasha's particular favorite. And the start is really, really mini. It's just about 100 stitches. No, 160 stitches, I should say. This is a center start. And I learned from Diane last weekend at Stitch Basel 25 that the first 30 stitches of a piece make it a start, and after 30 stitches it's a WIP. That is Diane's law. This has 160 stitches, so yeah, we're good. This is a full-on WIP right now. And the second Hannah Lynn piece that got the same treatment was this one, Easter Lily Fairy. That was also recharted for max colors and then restarted on 18 count Davosa. And that is also a little center start. Not much to see yet. Celia has the center in her blue hair, and Easter Lily Fairy has the center very close to one of her eyes. So this is the typical Hannah Lynn, big black lines, and then this is a bit of skin tone. This is also about 150 stitches. These pieces are each 350 by 250 stitches, which makes them not even 100,000 stitches big. And to me, they feel like smalls, which is obviously not what they are, because they are still, you know, close to 100,000 stitches. But compared to everything else that is in this pile and the huge big ass projects that are still coming up, this feels like a small. They are not, but you know, just for the fun of it. Then another very old one came out of hiding, Ocean Dreams by Jim Warren. Here's where I got to, top left corner. And if you see some missing stitches here, you are correct. Because I have been looking at this piece and deciding that I am probably going to skip the entire top row. I will put a picture in here of what that might end up looking like. I am not cutting the fabric. I am not like making that decision final until I am years further down the line. But the top row of pages, it just doesn't really have anything happen in it. The most interesting parts come further down the line. We'll see how it works out. This is a piece that I had lost interest in over the years, because the story of Ocean Dreams is that I bought it at the beginning of 2020 when Patricia and I had made plans to visit Curacao in the summer of 2020. Well, guess what happened? None of that came to pass, thanks to a certain pandemic also starting with the letter C. So yeah, the feeling that I had about Ocean Dreams was not really very positive for a long time. But if I look at the piece, if I look at the artwork, it's still very much me. So it's come out of the closet and it's been given some love. And then the last project that I worked on for WIP Mania before the month was out is Astray by Rachel Anderson, charted by Hate. This is that piece where I combine max colors and regular colors in the same piece. For more details on that, you can revisit or visit for the first time my WIP parade from last year. And here she is. Oh, this is 5 pages and a bit. 3 and a bit on the top row and 2 in the second row. I told you last time that I'm putting Petite Treasure braid in the wings and in the little butterfly. I'm going to bring it a bit closer. Maybe you can see the sparkle. It's always a challenge, huh? Getting like Krynic or Petite Treasure braid to show up on screen. Yeah. Love her. And those were the 5 things that I stitched for Mania. Folding this up. Then we go to a biggie. A real biggie. A supersize max color by Amy Stewart. This one, the Grand Butterfly Ball. I had this one charted for SSMC in January 2024 already. Yeah, it was released around New Year 2024. And this design is so very busy that I went back and forth a long time over, do I want to start the SSMC version? Because there are so many little details in this design that you just know up front, even an SSMC is not going to catch all of that. But I kept going back to the artwork and I kept looking at it, and it is so me. I love fairies, I love blues, I love bright colors. And that top corner alone has so much blue and has a fairy in what is my dream dress. So I decided, you know what, I'm going to start it. And I am first initially going to go for a crop of 4 by 3 pages. That would look something like this. I'm going to go for that first, and knowing my stitching speed, that might take me years and years and years, which is fine. But I'm initially going for this crop, and if I want to do more after that, I can do more after that. This was an Ascension Day weekend start, together with Sabine again. And this is where I am. The first page is done, and I have a decent start on page 2. And this is a big part of that beautiful blue dress that I mentioned just a minute ago. Oh, yes. My style. Yeah, loving that. Now, when I said a minute ago that Heaven and Earth, that Hannah Lynn feels like a small, this is heavy. I mean, look at the thickness of this fabric. Ooh, love it. All right. By now we are in June of the last year, chronologically speaking, and that is the time when my darling grandmother passed away. I've talked about Granny various times here on Flosstube as well as on my Instagram, and I just want to take a second to remember her and to celebrate her, because the lovely old lady turned 99 years old. She passed away just a few weeks before reaching her 100th birthday. And she is the one who passed the love of stitching on to my mom and me. And I can never thank her enough for that. My granny was a portrait. I have told you stories about her various times, and she thankfully passed away in her sleep peacefully. The last few days of her life were difficult. She was always sharp as a knife. Her brain was just so sharp, even though her body had given up years and years and years ago before already. She couldn't craft anymore. Her hands had completely, grown into hardly unmovable fingers. She was almost entirely deaf, almost entirely blind. But that mind of my grandma was so very sharp. And she got her final wish in the end, because she did not want to turn 100 years old. There is a tradition in the Netherlands that if you turn 100, the mayor will visit you. And Grandma was very clear that she did not want that. On January 1st of this year, so New Year's Day, my dad said to her, "So Grandma, this August is going to be the one, right?" And my grandma pulled her normal sour puss face and said to him, "Oof, I don't want to turn 100. And I definitely do not want to entertain the mayor. I don't know the man. I can hardly see him. I can hardly hear him. I don't want him here. And if he steps through the door, I don't want you to give him cake." That was, my granny to a T. Always very clear about what she wanted, and most specifically about what she did not want. And obviously after Grandma had passed away and the funeral had been, we cleaned out her house. And there is one piece that I got that is a fully finished bell pull. This thing is older than I am. I am 40. This thing is easily 50, 60 years old. And I'm going to very slowly, carefully pick it up. If you are wearing headphones, be careful. There's a little bell in here. And I'm going to show you, because I absolutely have to share this. It's a British hunting scene. And this has always hung in Grandma's house for as long as I can remember. I don't know exactly when she stitched it, but this bell pull is easily 50, maybe even 60 years old. And I mean, look at how, ooh, there you go. Look at how, how lovely, old and stylish this is. This would always hang in her home, and now it hangs in mine. And I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. And to make it even more special, when my mom gave this to me, she also gave me this little tea box with Earl Grey tea saying on the front. And she gave this to me with a smile, without saying anything. And I looked at it saying, okay, what's in here? And she said, open it. And it contains the threads of this piece. And look at how bright they still are. Judging by the way these threads are like crammed and jammed together, I think these threads have been in this box ever since Grandma finished that bell pull. So they are still vivid, they are still completely fine. And I am going to find a way to use these in a project at some point. Oh, honestly, what a gift, what a gift, what a gift, what a gift. So I just wanted to take a moment to show that to you. I don't know what your thoughts are about life after death. I am not sure. I mean, we can never really be sure until we go through that phase. But I like to imagine that Grandma is in heaven with my grandpa, who passed away when I was very little. I was just 2. And my little niece stood next to me when we were at the open grave, you know, lowering the casket down. And she said to me, Mika, do you know where Grandma is? I said, well, I like to believe that she's in heaven. And I like to believe that her hands are fully healed and movable again, that her eyesight is completely cleared, and that she has first given Grandpa a huge big hug and a kiss, that Grandpa has given her a tour around heaven, and that they are now having tea while he is reading the newspaper and she is doing some stitching. I love that image. I obviously have no idea if it's true, but I love that image. So I just wanted to take a moment to celebrate my darling, beloved Grandma. And then we move on to a stitching shelf. So we move on, but we sort of stay with Grandma. I started this piece in honor of her in January 2023. Is that right? No, January 2024. This was my New Year, New Start in honor of Grandma, in honor of all the lovely women and men who have passed on this beautiful craft through the ages to us. I started in the bottom the bottom left corner in the winter seam. This is another very heavy fabric. My workout for the day is done. And here is where I am right now. I am moving my way up, and that little bit of brown colored stitching that you see there is the edge of the autumn shelf. Oh, I love this. I love this piece so much. My plan is to work my way up from the bottom left all the way to the top left, and then go horizontal whenever the season, you know, is there. So in winter I would work on winter, in autumn I would work on autumn, and then summer, and then spring, and so forth. This is stunning, absolutely stunning. And heavy, very heavy. Here we go. Then came summer. We are by now in July, and in summer I obviously took out Summer Queen by Bridget Ashwood. I have 4 of these seasonal ladies. 3 of them are Bridget Ashwood pieces, Spring, Summer, and Winter Queen that you've already seen. And the autumn one you've also already seen. That is Magic Autumn by Genevieve Art. That is my idea of seasonal stitching. And summer is lilacs. This is the start of page 3. And my plan, as far as I make plans, was to get page 3 done before I went to Basel, or even before I went to see Sasha in August of this year. But that did not happen thanks to this. The Deborah Dragon Dames Stitch Along, which is partly my own fault. But most of all, it's the fault of darling Mev Stitches in Paris, and Annerique stitchingchoco. The funniest thing happened is that somewhere early in July, I think it was, I had a little video chat with Mev. We do that every now and then. And she told me that she was going to start a Heaven and Earth Designs, and not just any, but a max color piece. And she was obviously, you know, cursing at it and blaming me for it, but blah, 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 blah. She's having great fun with it and it looks fantastic. Obviously, it's a max colors. And that was a dragon piece. And lo and behold, like either the same day or the next day, Annerique posted a picture on her Instagram saying that she was also going to start a dragon piece. And then I saw a dragon stitch along growing and yes, I want it in. And obviously I went and found the bluest dragon possible. This one. This is Dragonness of Compassion by Jenna della Grottaglia Maldonado. If I said that correctly. Yes, I think I have. And this piece was released somewhere early in 2025 and I completely missed that. But oh my goodness, is that my kind of dragon? Absolutely. And that eye in the center, that just, it grabbed my attention. So I gave myself a center start, which is something that I have done more since I started this piece and I'm really liking it. And I've got the first page finished. Look at that, staring into your soul. Oh, I love this. This is 50 Shades of Blue. You're like 90, but you know what I mean. Honestly, if you're working on this, you've obviously got it like this close, and then you see that eye constantly staring at you. This is a gorgeous piece. It's not even max colors, it's the regular color version. So, I've got myself a blue dragon, and just like with the Margaret Morales stitch along, the Deborah Dragon Dame cell doesn't have an end date. You can join whenever you want, as long as it's a dragon themed piece. Feel free and join. It's just for the fun of things. That was July. Then came August, in which I had a lovely week with darling Sasha and Jay and Mini Me. And I really can't call her Mini Me anymore because she's growing so tall. And I'm so proud of all those three beautiful, beautiful ladies. We had a lovely time. And when I came home from that, something else beautiful happened in August, and that was the return of Heaven and Earth Designs. If you are not yet aware, I think most people are by now, but just in case you're not, Michelle Sayada, the owner of Hate, has had a horrible year. First losing one of her two daughters, and then just recently losing her husband in the same year. I can't even begin to imagine what she has gone through and still is going through. So I am supporting Hate even more than usual. I have bought quite a few charts over the last months, even if I'm not gonna stitch them. I just wanna support them a little. I donated to, you know, their extra costs regarding funeral and things. Michelle and family and the whole Hate company give me so many hours of stitching pleasure, and I want to do something back, even if it's just as simple as buying charts or paying money for max color versions or supersize max color versions. So Hate had been offline for a bit, which is completely understandable. And just before all of that happened, I had put a max color request in for this beautiful piece. This is Princess and the Unicorn in the Cloisters by Jan Patrick Kresny. I was obviously drawn to that beautiful blue dress and the whole fairy tale feel of it. And in August, when Hate came back to work, they released the max color version. And I did another center start on that. And I'm a good way into the first page. And look at that unicorn head. Take a moment to look at that eye. The charting is so good. So good. Yeah, love this. Absolutely love this. And my upcoming birthday start might have a link to this. Little teaser. Little teaser. That was August, and then we are now arriving in the current month, September, which was obviously Stitch Basel 2025. We had so much fun last weekend. Oh, guys, seriously. If you are still on the fence, don't sleep on it. Stitch Basel 2026 has already been confirmed. Stitch Basel 2027 has even already been confirmed. If you want to know more, please go to the Stitch Basel Instagram page or Facebook page so you can get notified when registration starts. Don't sleep on it. It is such a lovely retreat, and Basel is a beautiful city. We had so freaking much fun. And the first thing, or not the first thing that I did, the first thing that I did was obviously hug my friends and squeal and just be on a complete adrenaline high the entire Friday. But then the first thing I did was I ran to the XStitch Designs fabric table, and I kid you not, Yuchush and Tibor brought 50 kilos of fabric. Their trunks were, you know, almost coming to my waist. And I splurged. I absolutely splurged. A, because I wanted to. B, because I am so proud of XStitch and Tibor for growing their business into what it is right now. And also because, I mean, if you've ever bought a piece of XStitch fabric, you know the scent of it. You know how good it smells and how you just want to stick your nose in it. And I had planned to get a fabric at retreat, or either to bring one from stash, to start this pattern. This is Dragon Heart Quaker by Vintage Tulip Design, a Hungarian designer that has also been present at the last few Stitch Basel retreats. She released this chart last year because it was Year of the Dragon. And last year at our stitch table, both Ingeborg and Mev, if I remember correctly, started this piece. And I remember that last year I was interested in it, but it didn't really grab me just yet. And then this year I have fallen down the rabbit hole that is Fourth Wing, the Empyrean series, book series by Rebecca Yarros. I don't even have words for it. I have read Fourth Wing, I think, 3 times by now. And I have about 20% read of book number 2, Iron Flame. Please, if you want to mention Fourth Wing, that's fine. I'm a huge fangirl, but no spoilers. I don't know where the story is going. I steer clear from anything Google or social media regarding Fourth Wing. I am completely just immersed in the world of the continent and of Basgayath. And as I was reading book 1, I was thinking of Dragonheart Quaker, and I immediately knew this is going to be a retreat start. Yes. And so I did. And here is my start. I am obviously making it mine by Miekifying it and bluifying it. The fabric is 32 count XStitch Design in Autumn Gold. Because, you know, gold obviously reminds me of a certain young dragon. The dragons are stitched in dark green in the original. I am doing them in the same illustrious PR147. The violets, well, in my head they're violets, are being done in violet purple. And the green plant swirls and stuff are going to be done in a first for me, XStitch Design silks. I have stitched with XStitch Design cottons before, but I've never tried her silks before, and they're so nice. So get yourself some. This is Aquamarine, the color that I've picked, and it is somewhere in between 992 and 993. It is almost solid, almost. And yeah, I love this. I absolutely love this. silks and XStitch design fabrics. Just match made in heaven. That was my first start along, because it was not just me who started it, but also lovely Momo from Ginkgo and Ginkgo who started her version. Please look her up on Instagram so you can follow hers. She is doing a completely different color palette to mine as well as to the original, and we are bringing them back in Stitch Basel, or to Stitch Basel next year, to compare how far we've come. Knowing Momo by now, she will have finished it and I will have not, but that's okay. And then there was a second start along. This was very much an impromptu thing that just happened at retreat. An ink circles piece called, here we go, Cirque des Cercles. Mev, I apologize. You can teach me next month how to pronounce that properly. But the circus of circles. Years and years ago, before I became a pretty much 100% full coverage stitcher, I did a lot of non-full coverage, and I have started, I have a start on the companion piece Circus of Diamonds, Cirque des Carreaux. And this is a chart that has always spoken to me, and at retreat it just sort of came up and it happened, and both Momo and I started that, and here is my start on that. As I expected, it's washing out. This is a beautiful lavender purple. Can I get it to show? No, it won't show. I will put a picture in on screen so you can see the colors better. But this is 32 count frozen lavender XU design fabric with Silks for You PR152, which is a lovely green moving into blue, moving into purple. And it follows the brand new Deborah's Law of Silks for You hanks, which was a little joke that happened during retreat. Deborah has about 20, I believe, right? Different hanks of Silks for You. And she said at some point, I have found that a good hank of Silks for You should contain maximum 3 different colors. And I subscribe to that theory. I think it is a very good theory. So that was my last start. It washes out. I will either already have put in a picture, or I will do that now so you can see the actual colors. And let's see if the hank of silk itself will show up properly, or if it will also misbehave. This is PR152. Greens, blues, purples. If you have been counting along with me, you will have realized that we are now at 21 projects, which leaves one more. And that is the biggest of them all. That is obviously my life's work, Super C Opal. But the sofa next to me is empty. 1, 2, 3, snap. Look at that! I have a row finish, people! 11 pages finished. Almost 80,000 stitches. And I am placing it on the back of the sofa because I tried this morning to hold it up in front of the camera in any way that would be sort of helpful, and it's just too big by now. So I am putting it on the back of the sofa. In many, many, many years it will go above the sofa. But look at that. Oh, I love it. I love it, I love it, I love it. When we were at Basel, I had 3,500 stitches to go on this final page on the right edge. And I was encouraged by my friends to get it done. And I did manage it in the past week. I love this piece so freaking much. And I think I am going to lay it down on the sofa and do a little pass over it with my camera after this bit is done. But we have a row finish. That's a first for me. I've never finished a full row of a height chart before. And to have that happen with Super C Opal is really, really very cool. So that is my one last big thing to show you for this WIP parade. I have a birthday start coming up next week. Next week is my birthday. I have not yet decided, which is unusual for me. I have two things in mind. One is going to be, or one might be, a Heaven and Earth Designs piece that is being charted for Max Colors. I am not mentioning it yet because I want it to remain a surprise. And the other one that is going to be started for sure is this one. This is Blueberry J by XStitch, and it is the blue-green, absolutely stunning companion piece to the viral Cherry Magpie that was released earlier. I saw this one on Getz XStitch's Instagram page when she was announcing it for Needlework Market in the summer, and my jaw just went, oh, I need that, I want that. And then I saw Stitcher Aussie Emily on Instagram, who is stitching Cherry Magpie and who has kitted up Blueberry J already, and she inspired me even more, and I was like, oh yeah, this needs to happen. So I bought fabric for that chart in Basel that is very close to the greenish colors on the cover picture and on the fabric dyers page. The chart itself is not yet available in PDF. From what I've read on XStitch page, it will become available in October. So that is definitely going to be a start somewhere in the autumn, because just look at it. It is stunning. It is stunning. And the other one might be a Heaven and Earth Designs, but that one has also not been released just yet. And I first want to see how it turns out before I make my choice. So the birthday start is yet to be decided. And I will let you know on Instagram and on a later date here on Flosstube. And that is everything that I have to tell you. I am going to stick, for those of you who want, a little video montage at the end here of the brag table and the finish table in Stitch Basel. We've spent about 45 minutes or so now looking at WIPs, and to balance things out a little bit, I am going to show you some beautiful finishes. At Stitch Basel, we actually had a fully finished framed Heaven and Earth Designs piece. Honestly, these things to me are like crown jewels. They're so special. And there were many more other finishes and fully finished pieces. So I will put a little video here at the end, and if you want, then you can enjoy that. And that is everything. And just as I said that, there is a clap of thunder in the air. Okay. Yeah. Time to end this and time to get going on the editing. I wish you a lovely weekend, friends. I hope you've had a fun time in this WIP parade visiting with me. Thank you for sticking all the way with me to the end if you're still here. I wish you happy stitching, and we'll see each other next time. Ciao, my friends!